What's up, guys? July week 3. We got plenty of tips for you this week. I do the research so you don't have to, and hopefully we get a bunch of money this week. This week we got AFL, NRL, got the UFC and boxing. Those are the main tips I've done research for. Sometimes I'll do other ones, like I looked at the women's Euro, did a few bets on that. I don't think there's much else I'm betting on this week besides the other ones. AFL round 19. Fremantle versus Richmond to start us off. Freo's my boys. I believe we're the best team in the comp if we're at our playing when we're on. And usually, if we stay consistent, we can beat any team. We've proven that before. For some weird reason, I feel like we've been playing better away. We're playing away this week. It's against Richmond. They just had a bad loss against North. Well, they should have won Richmond last week, but nonetheless, they didn't. I believe Freo will beat them. North Melbourne versus the Hawks. I believe the Hawks will beat North Melbourne. Swans versus Adelaide. I'm picking the Swans to beat Adelaide. Geelong versus Port Adelaide. I'm picking Geelong. Lions versus Gold Coast. I'm picking the Lions. Demons versus the Bulldogs. I'm picking Melbourne. Carlton versus GWS. I'm picking Carlton. Collingwood versus Essendon. I'm picking Collingwood. West Coast versus St Kilda. I'm picking St Kilda. So hopefully in those games, I feel like this week's going to be a great week for games. I'll probably be watching the Fremantle one. I'll try to watch the Geelong one. And the Collingwood and Essendon one. And Bulldogs and Melbourne. I think those are the games I'm going to be trying to watch this week. They look the most exciting. NRL, we've got the Eels versus the Broncos. I'm picking Eels. Sea Eagles versus the Dragons. I'm picking the Sea Eagles. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. Knights versus the Roosters. I'm picking the Roosters. Raiders versus the Warriors. I'm picking the Raiders. Panthers versus the Sharks. I'm picking the Panthers. Rabbitohs versus the Storm. Probably people look at me, what the hell, but I'm going Rabbitohs. Bulldogs versus Titans. I'm picking Bulldogs. North Queensland versus Cowboys. I'm picking Cowboys. I think my favourite games the games I'm going to try to watch. I'll try to watch the Panthers game, the Rabbitohs game, and the Roosters game. I'm going to try to watch those games this weekend. What else we got? We got UFC London. Wow. All right. So the other UFC that had in London, massive crowd. They had Paddy the Baddy and Tom Aspinall, and sadly, I keep forgetting names. Darren Till's not fighting. Apparently he's got something going on. But nonetheless, this card is a great card. So I'm only doing bets for the main card. Starting with Paul Craig versus Volkan Ozdemir. So apparently, this should be a great fight. I think it's all pointing towards Paul Craig though. Although I could see it going either way, but I'm picking Paul Craig to win. Molly McCann versus Hannah Gold. Everything's pointing Molly McCann right now. I'm picking Molly McCann. Meatball Molly. Gustafsson versus Nikita Lavrelov. Okay, people are going to be questioning why, but I'm going to pick Gustafsson. It's hard to... but he's had a bit of a layoff. He went to heavyweight, lost to heavyweight, but he's come back down. I can't tell you much, but I'm going on feeling. If you're a betting man, you'll go Nikita, but I'm betting on Gustafsson. I believe he has the sauce. Paddy the Baddy versus Jordan Levitt. I think that's a good fight, but I think Paddy's on this big hype level right now, and I think he backs the hype. Going Paddy the Baddy to win. Chris Curtis versus Jack Manson. I'm backing Chris Curtis. He is a beast. I'm going with him. Jack Manson is a good fighter as well, but I think Chris Curtis has got his number. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. Now, that's a good heavyweight fight. Curtis Blades is bloody awesome right now, but Tom Aspinall is looking quick. He can wrestle and he can strike. Not saying Curtis Blades can't strike, but I think Tom Aspinall's got his number. Wouldn't be surprised if it's done in the first round or the second round. And that's what I've got for the UFC. Boxing. Right. Boxing. Few interesting fights this week. These are the ones I'm going to go for. An Australian scene, we got Zoo's younger brother, Nikita Zoo. He's had a couple of knockouts already. He's fighting Ben Horn tomorrow. So Jeff Horn's son, I believe. So interesting legacy fight. So that'll be the Wednesday. I'm going to try to watch that. It's probably around 7 p.m. I don't know much about the undercard, but I want to watch Nikita Zoo. So I'm going to put Nikita Zoo by knockout. And then on the weekend, the fights I'm going to be watching is Amanda Serrano versus Brenda Karen. Let's be honest, we don't know much about Brenda Karen. But Amanda Serrano, probably either the best or second best women's boxer maybe in third, because we got mate as well, I can't remember her name. Anyways, I'm picking Amanda Serrano to win. Probably, I won't say either knockout or decision, because sometimes she does either. So far, Zoo beat Ben Horn, Amanda Serrano to beat Brenda Karen. Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Michael McKinson. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is a beast. I will highly recommend anyone who's a boxing fan or even just wants to get into boxing, watch him. He'll blow this guy over the water. Mark my words. Jake Paul versus Hamzat Raham Jr. Okay. This was actually a hard pick. I know a lot of hardcore people will be like, well, what the hell? Like, obviously it's going to be Hazim. He's going to beat him. Like, he's got over 100 amateur fights. He's 10-1. 10-1 professional, with his last one losing. But I don't know. I've bet on Jake Paul every time he fights. He always has his way of pointing the fight to make it look like he's going to lose each time. This time, I know it's a big bite, but he is a genius when it comes to picking his opponents. They're sparring partners, so he must know something here. But I've listened to interviews with both fighters, and he always has this way of making it a hard pick. I'm going to go, don't hate me, I'm going with Jake Paul. Although I can see Hazim beating him, I have this feeling that Jake Paul is going to beat him somehow. He's great at picking his opponents. But I'm going to be watching that. I'm a sucker. I love the hardcore fights and I love the casual fights. Whatever. I like it. I'm betting on Jake Paul to win. Teofimo Lopez is fighting this weekend versus Pedro Campa. It'd be interesting to see how Tio's come back from his loss against George Gambosis. I bet it on George Gambosis in the fight. Tio, he's a beast. When he's on form, like, he's awesome. A great fighter. I reckon he's gonna blow the waters out of this guy. Probably by knockout. So boxing, I got Zoo, Serrano, Ortiz Jr., Jake Paul, Lopez. Overall, I've got 28 picks for you this week. We'll see how we go. Game's the game. I'm hoping I get at least 24 right. Let's make some money this week. Thank you for checking out my video. I'll see you next week.